First contact confusion. The Galactic Confederation's Hall of Assembly buzzed with nervous energy. Representatives from over 200 species gathered in the massive chamber, their attention focused on the main viewing screen. For centuries, they had observed the small blue-green planet from a distance, cataloging its inhabitants' behaviors with mounting concern. Now, after decades of debate, formal contact had finally been established with the species known as humans. High Counselor Threll, a tall, willowy being with reflective silver skin and 4 elegantly long arms, called the assembly to order. The chamber quieted immediately. Fellow representatives, Threll's voice resonated through the hall. We have convened today to review the preliminary reports on human integration into our galactic community. I call upon senior anthropologist Zixar to present the findings. Zixar approached the central platform, their insectoid form moving with deliberate precision. As the Confederation's leading expert on emerging species, Zixar had spent the past 30 standard cycles studying humans from observation posts throughout Earth's solar system. Distinguished representatives, Zixar began, mandibles clicking softly with each word. I must report that despite 6 months of direct contact, humans remain perhaps the most perplexing species we have ever encountered. Murmurs rippled through the assembly as Zixar activated the holographic display. 3-dimensional images of humans engaged in various activities appeared above the platform. Observe, Zixar continued, gesturing to the first image, showing humans leaping from a high cliff into water below. These humans are not being pursued by predators. They are not gathering food. They call this recreational cliff diving and claim it produces pleasurable neurochemical responses. The next image showed humans consuming various fermented beverages in a social setting. They willingly ingest substances that impair cognitive and motor functions. When questioned, they described this as relaxing and fun. They understand the effects yet choose impairment regularly. Several representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats. A Nimbari delegate raised a tentacle. Are they not concerned about predators taking advantage of their compromised state? They appear unconcerned, Zixar replied. Furthermore, they deliberately seek out experiences that trigger fear responses. The display shifted to humans watching horror entertainment. They call this recreational fear and consider it enjoyable. Perhaps they simply have poor threat assessment capabilities, suggested a Vrex representative, their crystalline form glinting under the chamber lights. Quite the contrary, Zixar countered. In crisis situations, humans demonstrate remarkable threat assessment and response. The contradiction lies in that they voluntarily seek out danger when no crisis exists. The images shifted again, showing humans embracing after surviving a dangerous situation. Most puzzling is their tendency to form intense social bonds after sharing dangerous experiences. Their hormone levels indicate powerful emotional connections following such events. High Counselor Threll's silver brow furrowed. And yet we have invited these thrill-seekers to join our confederation. The decision was not without debate, Zixar acknowledged. However, humans have demonstrated technological innovation at an unprecedented rate. Their adaptability alone makes them valuable potential allies. Additionally, they have shown remarkable diplomacy when properly motivated. Very well, Threll conceded. We shall proceed with the integration program. Are there volunteers for the Cultural Exchange Initiative? The chamber fell silent. Working directly with humans was still considered a risky assignment. I will volunteer, came a voice from the back of the chamber. A Kileri stepped forward, her blue-scaled skin shimming under the lights. I am Science Officer Televera. My specialty is xenobiology. I believe I can provide valuable insights while studying human physiology up close. An admirable offer, Threll said. Anyone else? After a moment of uncomfortable silence, a Mrekti security specialist named Kraz volunteered, followed by a reluctant Galvan engineer called Prex. Excellent, Threll said. You will join the crew of the exploration vessel Harmonious Discovery. A human contingent will make up 20% of the crew. Your mission is to assess their compatibility with Confederation protocols and culture. Zixar, you will oversee the mission remotely. 3 standard months later, Telvera stood in the observation deck of the Harmonious Discovery, watching as the human crew members boarded the vessel. They moved with an energy that simultaneously fascinated and unnerved her. "They're smaller than I expected," Kraz commented, his armored exoskeleton clicking as he shifted position. The Mrekti stood nearly 7 feet tall, his chitinous body designed for combat and protection. "Size is rarely an indicator of capability," Telvera replied, studying the humans closely. "Their endoskeleton is surprisingly robust, despite their soft exterior." "I still don't understand why we need them," Prex muttered, his gelatinous form rippling with anxiety. The Galvan engineer had opposed the human integration program from the beginning. "Our technology is superior in every measurable way." "Superior is subjective," Telvera countered. "Humans approach problems differently. Their solutions are often unexpected." The airlock cycled open, and the human contingent entered the observation deck. They were led by Commander Sarah Chen, a compact woman with short black hair and alert brown eyes. Behind her stood Security Chief Marcus Jones, a dark-skinned man with broad shoulders and a watchful gaze, and Science Officer Dr. Elena Rodriguez, whose quick movements suggested barely contained energy. "Permission to come aboard," Commander Chen said, offering the traditional Confederation greeting. Right hand extended, palm upward. Telvera responded with the proper gesture, touching her fingertips lightly to Chen's palm. "Welcome aboard the Harmonious Discovery. I am Science Officer Telvera. These are my colleagues, Security Specialist Kraz and Engineer Prex." Chen introduced her team, which also included Communications Specialist Raj Patel and Medical Officer Dr. James Wong. The humans smiled frequently during introductions, showing their teeth in what Telvera had learned was a non-threatening gesture, despite how alarming it appeared to many Confederation species. "We're grateful for this opportunity," Chen said. "My team has been briefed on Confederation protocols and cultural sensitivities. We're committed to making this joint mission a success." "We shall see," Prex muttered under his breath. The first few weeks aboard the Harmonious Discovery proceeded without major incident. The humans were diligent in their duties, though their methods often bewildered their alien counterparts. They worked in unpredictable bursts of energy rather than the steady, measured pace preferred by most Confederation species. They required regular periods of unconsciousness, yet often delayed these sleep cycles to complete tasks or engage in social activities. Telvera documented everything in her reports to Zixar, particularly fascinated by the humans' social behaviors. They formed connections quickly, not just with each other, but with various crew members. Even the standoffish Prex had developed what he called a tolerable working relationship with Dr. Rodriguez. The mission progressed to Outpost Sigma 9, a remote trading hub on the edge of Confederation space. The outpost orbited a neutron star, harvesting its energy while serving as a meeting point for dozens of species, both Confederation members and unaffiliated. "Outpost ahead," announced Patel from the communication station. "We're cleared for docking in Bay 17. "Acknowledged," Telvera replied. "Commander Chen, as per protocol, we should discuss shore leave procedures." Chen nodded. "Standard rotation. Half the crew remains aboard while the others visit the outpost." "Correct," Telvera confirmed, "though I must advise caution. Outpost Sigma 9 sees traffic from non-Confederation species, including some with adversarial histories with the Confederation." "Noted," Chen replied. "We'll brief all personnel on security protocols." Security Chief Jones leaned forward, his expression serious. "Any specific threats we should be aware of?" Kraz's mandibles clicked. "The Dorzek. They're a mercenary species from the Outer Rim, physically imposing, highly territorial, and notoriously hostile toward newcomers to the galactic stage. They view emerging species as beneath their notice," Telvera explained. They were passed over for Confederation membership centuries ago due to their aggressive tendencies. So basically playground bullies who never got picked for the team. Jones asked. Telvera tilted her head, puzzled by the reference but understanding the sentiment. An apt comparison, though they are extremely dangerous bullies. They possess significant physical advantages over most species. Understood, Chen said. We'll maintain a low profile. After docking, the First Shore League group prepared to disembark. Telvera decided to accompany Commander Chen, Dr. Rodriguez, and Security Chief Jones to observe their interactions in a multi-species environment. Kraz joined them as additional security, while Prex remained aboard to oversee maintenance. Outpost Sigma 9 bustled with activity. The main promenade featured shops, food establishments, and various entertainment venues. Species of all descriptions moved through the wide corridors, conducting business or simply enjoying the amenities. This is incredible, Rodriguez breathed, her eyes wide as she took in the diversity of life forms. Look at the atmospheric adaptation technology. Some of these species shouldn't be able to exist in the same environment. The Confederation excels at environmental engineering, Telvera said, pleased by the scientists' appreciation. Each sector can adjust its atmospheric composition within moments to accommodate different physiological needs. They continued their tour of the promenade, stopping occasionally to sample exotic, but human-safe, foods or examine interesting goods. Telvera noticed that the humans attracted attention, some curious, some wary. Humanity's recent addition to the Confederation was still news throughout the galaxy. Perhaps we should visit the observatory lounge, Telvera suggested. It provides an excellent view of the neutron star and is typically frequented by scientists and researchers, a calmer environment. Chen agreed, and the group made their way to the upper levels of the outpost. The observatory lounge was a circular room with transparent walls, offering a spectacular view of the neutron star and surrounding space. Inside, various seating areas were arranged to accommodate different physiologies. They found a suitable table and ordered beverages, non-alcoholic for the humans, at Telvera's recommendation. The conversation flowed easily as they discussed the differences between Earth and Confederation cultures. I still don't understand your species' fascination with deliberately frightening experiences, Kraz said, his compound eyes fixed on Jones. Why would you seek out situations that trigger fear responses? Jones considered the question. I suppose it's about testing boundaries in a controlled environment. There's something satisfying about facing fear and overcoming it. But the fear is artificial, Kraz insisted. There is no actual threat to overcome. Sometimes the line between real and perceived threat gets blurry, Jones replied with a slight smile. The body doesn't always know the difference. Their philosophical discussion was interrupted by a commotion near the entrance. A group of large reptilian beings had entered the lounge, their scaled bodies towering over most other patrons. Sharp ridges ran along their skulls, and their amber eyes surveyed the room with obvious disdain. Dorzak, Kraz whispered, his exoskeleton stiffening. A full hunting pack. Telvera felt her scales tighten against her body, an instinctive response to danger. We should leave quietly, she murmured. They appeared to be searching for something. As they prepared to depart, Telvera noticed a small group of Sindi, a diminutive species known for their scientific achievements, huddled at a corner table. A young Sindi child, no larger than a human toddler, watched the Dorzak with wide, frightened eyes. The lead Dorzak, a massive specimen with a jagged scar across his snout, spotted the Sindi and made a direct line toward them. His posture radiated aggression. Telvera, Chen said quietly, what's happening? The Xindi recently published research questioning the genetic superiority of several species, including the Dorzak. Telvera explained hurriedly. It appears this group has taken offense. The lead Dorzak now loomed over the Xindi table, his sharp-toothed mouth twisted in a snarl. The Xindi adults tried to shield their child, but they were clearly terrified. We should call station security, Telvera urged, reaching for her communicator. Before she could activate it, Commander Chen stood up. "Hold on." "Commander," Telvera hissed, "this is not our concern. Interference could cause a diplomatic incident." Chen's expression hardened. "If that child gets hurt while we do nothing, that's already an incident I can't live with." Security Chief Jones was already on his feet, his posture relaxed but alert. Rodriguez hesitated, then stood as well. Kraz looked between them and the Dorzak, his mandibles clicking rapidly in distress. "Commander," Telvera tried again, "the Dorzak are physically superior to humans in every measurable way. They have reinforced skeletal structures, enhanced musculature, and natural armor." "Noted," Chen replied calmly, then walked directly toward the confrontation. Telvera watched in shocked disbelief as the humans approached the much larger aliens. The lead Dorzak had grabbed one of the adult Xindi by the front of their robe, lifting the small being off the ground. The Xindi child whimpered in fear. "Excuse me," Chen said, her voice carrying clearly across the now quiet lounge. "I believe you're frightening these people." The Dorzak turned slowly, his amber eyes narrowing as he took in the humans. He dropped the Xindi, who scrambled back to protect their child. "New meat," the Dorzak rumbled, his voice deep and grating. "The soft skins I've heard about. Run back to your masters, little ones. This isn't your concern." "Actually," Chen replied, still perfectly calm, "the Confederation Charter guarantees safe passage for all recognized species at designated outposts. As fellow travelers, we're just helping ensure everyone enjoys that right." The Dorzak leader's mouth stretched into what might have been a smile, revealing rows of sharp teeth. "Your species is too new to understand galactic realities. Perhaps you need education." As tension filled the air, Telvera found herself frozen in place, watching a confrontation that could only end one way, with injured humans and a major diplomatic incident. She could not understand why these otherwise intelligent beings would willingly place themselves in such danger. The Dorzak leader took a step closer to Chen, using his considerable height advantage to loom over her. Jones shifted slightly, positioning himself at Chen's side, while Rodriguez moved toward the Xindi family. "Last chance to walk away. Soft skin," the Dorzak growled. Chen didn't back down. Her voice remained steady as she replied, "We will, with the Xindi family. After that, the lounge is all yours." The Dorzak's nostril slits flared. Wrong answer. His massive clawed hand swung toward Chen's face with frightening speed, and that's when everything changed. The nature of strength. The Dorzak's clawed hand moved with devastating speed, yet somehow missed its target. Chen had shifted her weight slightly, a movement so subtle and precise that Telvera almost missed it. The massive fist whistled past Chen's face by millimeters. In the same fluid motion, Chen stepped inside the Dorzak's reach, her own movements quick and economical. She struck 3 precise points on the Dorzak's extended arm. The large alien roared in surprise as his limbs suddenly went numb, dropping uselessly to his side. "What?" The Dorzak leader snarled, his amber eyes wide with shock. Before he could recover, Jones moved. Unlike Chen's precise strikes, the security chief employed his body weight, driving his shoulder into the Dorzak's midsection. Despite the alien's greater mass, Jones's perfectly timed impact disrupted the Dorzak's balance, sending him staggering backward. The lounge erupted into chaos. The other Dorzak charged forward, their faces contorted with rage. Telvera felt a surge of fear. The humans were clearly outmatched in size and strength. This would be a massacre. Yet what unfolded defied her understanding of physical confrontation. The humans moved with astonishing coordination, as if they'd rehearsed this scenario countless times. Rodriguez had reached the Xindi family and was quickly guiding them toward an emergency exit, shielding the child with her body. Chen and Jones positioned themselves between the Dorzak and their retreat path. "Telvera," Chen called out, "get the Xindi to safety." Telvera found herself moving without conscious decision, rushing to Rodriguez's side to help with the frightened aliens. As she passed Chen, she witnessed something remarkable. Two Dorzak attacked simultaneously, their massive forms converging on the much smaller human. Yet Chen moved like water, sliding between them, causing their momentum to carry them into each other. As they collided, she struck with precision, not attempting to match their strength, but targeting nerve clusters and pressure points that Telvera recognized from anatomical studies. Nearby, Jones had grabbed a serving tray, using it as an improvised shield to deflect a Dorzak's claws. The metallic clang echoed through the lounge as he redirected the alien's force, rather than opposing it directly. They're not trying to overpower them, Telvera realized aloud, her scientific mind racing to understand. They're using the Dorzak's own strength against them. Kraz had joined the fray, his combat training evident as he engaged one of the Dorzak. But even the Mrekti security specialist fought differently than the humans. Kraz relied on his natural armor and strength, while the humans employed movement, leverage, and timing. A Dorzak charged at Rodriguez, who was still guiding the Xindi family. Telvera moved instinctively, using her knowledge of station systems to access an environmental control panel. With quick inputs, she triggered a localized atmospheric density increase, a subtle change, but enough to slow the charging Dorzak momentarily. That brief delay allowed Rodriguez to reach the emergency exit with the Xindi. The door slid open, and station security personnel finally appeared, their weapons drawn. "Confederation security, stand down immediately," the lead officer shouted. The Dorzak leader, still nursing his temporarily paralyzed arm, snarled at the security team. "These soft skins attacked us without provocation." "That's not true," came a small voice. The Xindi child had stepped forward, their large eyes fixed on the security team. "They protected us when the big ones threatened my parents." The security officer, a four-armed Keltari, looked between the Dorzak and the mixed group of humans, Telvera and Kraz. "All parties will report to security headquarters for statements." As the adrenaline of the moment faded, Telvera observed the humans closely. Despite having just engaged in physical combat with beings twice their size, they appeared remarkably composed. Chen was checking Rodriguez for injuries, while Jones calmly reassured the Xindi family. None of them seemed surprised by what had just happened, as if this outcome had been expected all along. "You knew you could handle them," Telvera said to Chen as they were escorted to security headquarters. "How?" "The Dorzak outmatch humans in every physical parameter." Chen smiled slightly. "Physical parameters aren't everything, Telvera. Humans learned long ago that direct confrontation isn't always the best approach when you're not the strongest species." "You redirected their force," Telvera observed. "Used their momentum against them." "Exactly," Chen nodded. "Plus, we had something they didn't." "What's that?" "A reason worth fighting for," Chen replied simply. "Protecting those who can't protect themselves." At security headquarters, they provided their statements. Station records confirmed the Xindi account. The Dorzak had initiated the confrontation. The humans' actions were deemed appropriate self-defense under Confederation law. As they prepared to return to the harmonious Discovery, Telvera received an urgent communication from the ship. "Science Officer Telvera," Prex's agitated voice came through. "We're detecting unusual energy signatures approaching the station. Configuration unknown, but they're on an intercept course. Patch it through to Commander Chen," Telvera instructed. Moments later, they were rushing back to the ship. Long-range scans revealed 3 unidentified vessels approaching Outpost Sigma 9 at high velocity. Confederation protocols dictate that all ships assist in station defense, Telvera explained as they boarded the harmonious Discovery. "But these readings are troubling. I've never seen energy signatures like these." "Get us undocked and ready to move," Chen ordered as they reached the bridge. "Jones, I want defensive systems online." "Patel, open a channel to Station Command." The efficiency with which the humans shifted from the bar confrontation to crisis management impressed Telvera. They moved with purpose, no wasted energy or motion. Station Command confirms 3 unknown vessels approaching, Paddle reported. They're not responding to hails and are charging weapons. Energy signatures suggest advanced disruptor technology, Telvera added, scanning the incoming data. Similar to prohibited Psylocke designs. Weapons that should not exist in this quadrant. Kraz clicked his mandibles in concern. The main view screen showed the approaching vessels, sleek, dark ships with predatory lines. Their hulls absorbed light rather than reflecting it, making them difficult to track visually. Outpost defenses are activating, Paddle reported. But these ships are fast, evading targeting locks. Can we intercept? Chen asked. Inadvisable, Prex replied from engineering. Our vessel is not primarily designed for combat. Neither is the station designed to withstand those weapons, Telvera countered. If those are indeed Psylocke disruptors, they could destabilize the station's structural integrity field. The bridge fell silent as they watched the unidentified vessels approach the station, easily evading the defensive fire. The lead ship fired a pulse of energy that struck the station's shields, causing them to flicker alarmingly. Shield harmonics are destabilizing, Telvera reported. 2 more hits like that, and the shields will fail. Who would have access to Psylocke technology? Chen asked, her eyes never leaving the tactical display. Psylocke weapons were banned centuries ago, Kraz replied. Their designs were supposedly purged from all databases. Supposedly, Chen echoed. Rodriguez, what's the composition of those ships' hulls? Dr. Rodriguez, who had joined them on the bridge, studied the sensor readings, primarily Tetrian-reinforced alloys with, wait, there's something odd. I'm detecting organic components in the hull structure. Organic. Telvera moved to Rodriguez's station, examining the readings herself. That's impossible unless. Prex, reconfigure sensors to scan for Dorzak genetic markers. Dorzak? Chen asked. You think those are Dorzak ships? A theory, Telvera replied. The timing of their appearance immediately after our confrontation is suspicious. Prex's voice came over the comm. Confirmed. The organic components share significant genetic markers with Dorzak biology. They're integrating their own biological material into their ships. Jones asked, his expression a mixture of fascination and revulsion. It would explain how they obtained banned technology, Telvera said. The Dorzak value biological superiority above all else. If they've extended that philosophy to their technology, a biological component would make the ships partially resistant to standard scanning techniques, Rodriguez added. That's why station defenses can't get a lock. The attacking vessels fired again, their energy weapons striking the station's weakening shields. Alarms blared as system failures cascaded throughout the outpost. We need to help, Chen said firmly. Patel, hail all Confederation vessels in the area. Jones, tactical analysis. What can we do against those ships? Our standard weapons won't penetrate their hulls, Jones replied after studying the readings. But if they're using biological components, they might be vulnerable to targeted radiation. Rodriguez finished, already working at her console. We could modify our sensor array to emit a pulse of delta radiation, harmful to Dorzak's cellular structure, but not strong enough to damage the station. That would require reconfiguring the main deflector, Prex objected. It's not designed for offensive capabilities. We don't need it to be a weapon, Chen explained. Just a disruptor. If we can interfere with the organic components, their systems might destabilize long enough for station defenses to target them. Telvera watched in fascination as the humans rapidly developed a plan that no Confederation engineer would have considered. They weren't following standard protocols or procedures. They were creating something new from existing resources. It could work, Telvera admitted. But we would need to get much closer to the attacking vessels. Then that's what we'll do, Chen decided. Pilot, bring us around. Prex, begin deflector modifications. Rodriguez, calculate the precise radiation frequency needed to disrupt Dorzak's cellular structure without harming other species on the station. As the harmonious discovery moved into position, Telvera found herself both alarmed and intrigued by the humans' approach. They were placing themselves in danger, again, for reasons that defied conventional risk assessment. "You do understand that if we miscalculate, we could be destroyed," Telvera said quietly to Chen. "I understand the risk," Chen replied. "But sometimes you have to accept risk to protect others. That's part of being in the Confederation, isn't it? Mutual protection." Telvera had no immediate response. The concept was familiar, but the human's willingness to act on it was not. The harmonious discovery moved between the station and the attacking vessels, its shields raised but woefully inadequate against the powerful weapons. One of the Dorzak ships fired, striking their shields and reducing them to critical levels. "Deflector modifications complete," Prex reported, "but we'll need to drop our remaining shields to emit the pulse." "Understood," Chen replied. "On my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark." The shields dropped, and a wave of carefully calibrated delta radiation pulsed from the deflector dish. It washed over the attacking vessels, seemingly having no effect for several seconds. Then, one by one, the ships began to drift, their systems flickering. "It's working," Rodriguez exclaimed. "The biological components are destabilizing." "Station defenses are locking on," Paddle reported. "They're firing disabling shots." The station's weapons struck the now vulnerable ships with precision, disabling their propulsion and weapon systems. Within minutes, the attack was over. Station security vessels moved in to capture the disabled ships. Preliminary reports confirmed Dorzak operatives aboard all 3 vessels, Patil announced after receiving a transmission from the station. They were using experimental bio-integrated technology to bypass security protocols. "The same group from the lounge?" Telvera asked. "Different faction, but related," Paddle replied. "Station security found communications linking them to the group we encountered. Apparently, our intervention accelerated their timeline." Chen turned to Telvera. "We should assist with station repairs and medical needs." Hours later, as the crisis subsided, Telvera found herself in the station's medical bay, helping treat minor injuries. The humans worked alongside her, their earlier combat expertise now replaced by compassion and care. Rodriguez's medical knowledge complemented Dr. Wang's skills as they treated species they had never encountered before. "I don't understand," Telvera said to Chen as they took a brief rest. "Earlier today, you were engaged in physical combat. Now you're treating the injured with such care. These seem like contradictory behaviors." Chen considered the question thoughtfully. "They're 2 sides of the same coin, Telvera. Protecting others sometimes requires force, but the goal is always to preserve life and dignity, even when faced with beings who would do you harm." "Especially then," Chen replied. "We fought the Dorzak because they threatened the Xindi, not because we wanted to hurt them. And we treat injured Dorzak with the same care we're showing everyone else. This is why you voluntarily consume substances that impair your judgment," Telvera realized suddenly. "And why you seek out frightening experiences for entertainment." Chen looked puzzled. "I'm not sure I follow. Your species constantly tests the boundaries between different emotional states," Telvera explained, her scientific mind piecing together the puzzle. "You explore fear to understand courage. You impair your faculties to appreciate clarity. You confront danger to value safety. I suppose that's one way to look at it." Chen smiled. "We're complicated." "Indeed," Telvera agreed, "and far more adaptable than our initial assessment suggested." As they prepared to return to the harmonious discovery, Telvera was approached by Zixar, who had arrived at the station to personally assess the situation. "Your report on human behavior requires significant revision," Zixar stated, mandibles clicking rapidly in what Telvera recognized as excitement. "The adaptive problem-solving demonstrated today challenges our fundamental understanding of their species. Their approach to conflict defies conventional parameters, Telvera agreed. They don't oppose superior force directly. They redirect it. They don't rely solely on strength. They use precision and timing. And they demonstrate remarkable cognitive flexibility in crisis situations. Perhaps we have been measuring the wrong parameters, Zixar suggested. Their physical specifications are unremarkable, yet they accomplished what our combat specialists could not. They fight differently, Kraz interjected, joining the conversation. But more importantly, they fight for different reasons. Not for territory or resources, but for others. A risky evolutionary strategy, Zixar observed. Yet effective, Telvera countered. They survived today against superior forces and protected this station. Their willingness to accept risk for others may be their greatest strength. An interesting hypothesis, Zixar acknowledged. One that warrants further study. As Telvera watched the humans prepare for departure, she reflected on her changed perspective. What she had initially dismissed as irrational behavior, their risk-taking, their consumption of mind-altering substances, their deliberate seeking of frightening experiences, now seemed like pieces of a complex adaptive strategy. Humans didn't avoid discomfort, they embraced it. They didn't flee from fear, they confronted it. They didn't blindly follow rules, they improvised when necessary. These traits, puzzling in isolation, formed a coherent whole when viewed through the lens of their actions during the crisis. Commander Chen, Telvera called out as the humans prepared to board the shuttle back to their ship. I believe I owe you an apology. For what? Chen asked. I judged your species by incomplete criteria, Telvera admitted. I measured your physical parameters and found them unremarkable. I observed your behavioral patterns and found them perplexing. What I failed to measure was your adaptability, your creativity under pressure, and your willingness to protect others at personal risk. Those are hard things to measure in a laboratory, Chen replied with a smile. Indeed, which is why I propose a modification to our mission parameters, Telvera said. Rather than simply observing human integration into the Confederation, I suggest we actively explore how your species' unique approach to problem-solving might benefit our collective knowledge. I like the sound of that, Chen agreed. Cultural exchange goes both ways, after all. As they boarded the shuttle, Telvera composed a message to the High Council. Her recommendation would be clear. Humans were not merely an interesting curiosity to be studied or tolerated. They were a valuable addition to the Galactic Confederation, precisely because they approached problems differently. Their unique perspective, forged through their evolutionary history, offered new solutions to old challenges. When High Counselor Threll later asked her if humans truly belonged in the Confederation, Telvera's answer was unequivocal.